Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I'd talk a little bit about the update, talk about the new card sets, and give you guys my initial impressions of both Shen Woo and Elizabeth. Since I do have a little bit of investment in them, I do plan on A5ing Shen Woo because I actually can, because I do have tickets for him, but I want to do a few more pulls, see if I can get a few more memories for Elizabeth before I use any of those tickets and screw myself. But in this update, we do have the check-in login event, which is nice, but the main thing I want to focus on is the fact that we do get this 3PG for any EX character. Now, this is fantastic. If you don't have certain 3PGs for either one of your favorite characters or for maybe a support character like Cosme, Shizuru, Hotaru, Lung, whoever the case may be, you really should get that 3PG because it's really going to make them a whole lot better to have, a whole lot more useful. And then obviously if it's your favorite character, go ahead and get it for them so that way you can have a good time with them. The EX characters are still very strong in this game, especially due to the fact that we do have the plugins. However, I mean, you're going to find that the UEs are the Kingdom Comes. Again, though, you can still play EXs in pretty much every game mode for the most part. And then we have like the Carnival, and in this Carnival you actually acquire your points by doing the volume 3 battle cards. You do summons, right? You just do summons to get these battle cards, which is nice. So if you're not doing summons, it's gonna be pretty hard to finish, unfortunately. You can also get them from Shen Woo's Special Roulette, Magic Horse Ride of Memories event mission, which is good. So luckily, it's not the only way you can farm for these. How many of these points you're actually going to get, how far will you be able to go if you're not doing any pulls, I don't really know. But if you're not playing this, you're really, you're losing out on, 800 rubies, and you're losing out on a few rewards, but honestly, it's not really that big a deal. In all honesty, if you miss out on these shards are nice, guys, but you can farm for these shards. You can get your prime memories just by some long way farming in the dispatch missions. So it's not a massive deal breaker, although it still is nice to go ahead and get those rewards. Then we have the prime memory crafting event where we can actually craft imprint stones for Elizabeth and Shen Woo. And then we also have the Vague Promise Relay Bingo, which is nice. You can get a few extra rubies in here, which is really good. Just want to make sure you go through here and do whatever they tell you to do. And you should be fine as long as you're coming here every day and checking out on and queuing it up. And then you have the codex, of course, for the characters. Then we have the Rush Dungeon, which is always nice. You can collect rubies every single day. We have the set cards, which is also really good. I mean, these cards are not bad. They give an increased attack by 30%. They do give increased tag and fighter finish and special skill damage by 15%. Just to make it short, guys, these card sets are really good for Elizabeth and Shen Woo. So if you do have these characters and you're not pulling in that card banner, you want to get some decent cards for them, it's going to be a nice little set to have if you're not pulling for the main set that's in the banner. But you definitely want to farm for these things every single day. Farm for your dailies every day, guys. Get all these things that you can. That's really going to help your progression in the game. And then when we get out of here and we jump back in here again, we have the tower. Now in the tower, I went a little bit of ways in it. There's some shards in here for your imprint stones to farm imprint stones. There's some attack capsules and some other little goodies, right? I mean, that's nice. I like to see that, right? Kind of hurry along the dispatch mission, but really nothing too special. You do get some rubies along the way, which is good, but nothing really over the top in that thing. Then we have the Magic Horse Ride Memory event where we can actually acquire, some of these materials here, which is actually really good, and some other tickets if you jump in here and play. And some people do enjoy playing this, so that's actually really cool. And I really like the arcade. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about both Elizabeth and Shen Woo because I do have some opinions about both these characters. So whenever you look at Elizabeth, right, we'll just jump in here. Whenever you look at Elizabeth, you're going to notice something about her, especially in her core effect. And that is, she applies what's called Guidance of Light to all allies, including self when dealing starlight damage with Wedge of Light effect to the single target 4 times. Guidance of Light increases the next finisher and special skills damage by 450%. That's a big number. And then after applying Guidance of Light, cannot apply another Guidance of Light for 12 seconds, right? So essentially, you're going to be bumping up your finisher damage by 450% and your special skill damage by 450%. Well, I've actually done some tests with level 90 UE Ash with Elizabeth on the team, and I just switched her out with Cosme, right? I did a little comparison, and there was no comparing, guys. There was no comparing at all. Cosme was way better, right? So maybe I need to play this a little bit further. Maybe I need to see if I'm doing this correctly, but you want to apply this 4 times, and I'll show you guys this in another video, but it just doesn't seem like it shows the icons as far as getting a buff, but it doesn't seem like it's really doing a whole lot more difference in damage, especially compared to Cosme was doing over twice the damage, guys. Over twice the damage as a support for UE Ash. I mean, it's a pretty insane difference, and I was really kind of expecting more for her if they're going to make her a support character. However, the thing that I also noticed about Elizabeth is that she's fairly strong. She's actually got quite good damage, and she's really fun to play, really cool character. But I really think, and this is probably going to go for every single character that we always get, I really think, guys, you need to have her at A5, because I think at A5 is really where you're going to see the support come into play, because not only will you get that core passive, but you're going to get all of this. I mean, when you have 3 bars, you're going to get the next finisher and special skill damage increased by 300%. This goes up to 450% on top of the special skill damage here, guys, and decreased finisher and special skill damage coefficient by 5% for 3 seconds. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means because I don't have her at A5, so I haven't been able to test it. But I did see a video of Snow, right? Shout out to Snow, the YouTuber. Check out her channel, guys, where she actually was able to hit 23 trillion with a level 90 Shen Woo. Now, some people were saying that's not that good of damage, it's not really that great. Well, I can tell you my initial impressions of Shen Woo is that he does appear fairly weak at A3. He does a decent damage, guys. He does about 120 billion solo against Guild Raid, and I was using his 3PG, and I am using this set, and there are transcendent sets or transcendent stats for attack type characters. However, with this set, you're not getting the full amount of buffs. You're not getting this critical rate buff up to 10%. And believe you me, that makes a big, big difference in your damage, because you're not going to be doing as many critical hits. With these characters, with the amount of critical damage that they have, with the amount of attack that they have, doing critical hits, especially on these UE characters, makes a big, big difference in their damage output. So I do kind of wonder how good that actual set in the banner would be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot better than this. So it's hard for me to say whether or not he's just, because I've tested card sets before on characters, and whenever I would get the banner set, my damage would almost double. Right? So instead of 120 billion damage doing a solo with Shen Woo against Guild Raid Rugal, he would do about 240 billion if the set in the banner actually did 50% more damage. And that would be a huge improvement. Even if it was 30%, it would still be a big, big improvement in his damage output. So until I have that set, because I don't really know if I'm going to pull for it or not, in all honesty, guys, because I'm really focused on the fighters right now, that card set probably will be all the difference in a make or break for these characters as far as your damage output, you know, depending on you. I actually used this set on Elizabeth, and I was fairly pleased with her damage. But with Shen Woo, now granted, she's A1, right? So I don't really know how strong she'll be at A3, right? It's difficult for me to compare. And whenever I did level 90 run, or whenever I did runs with Ash and all the other characters that I got from the previous update, I already had them at A5. So I'm not really sure exactly how much of a damage difference there are between these characters, but the fact that Snow was able to get, you know, 23 trillion with a team run is actually really good, because my Ash, guys, my Ash on this account, not on some other account, on this account, with good buffs like Shizuru and Cosme on the team, my Ash does about 23 to 25 trillion depending on the run. So if this guy's getting, you know, 23 trillion with his card set in the banner, that's actually pretty damn good damage, right? At A5 and beyond, because that run that Snow did was at level 90, right? So his damage might be just a world of difference when you actually get him to A5. And it's going to be, I guess, similar to Elizabeth, right? They really need that, because at A3, you're just not getting this. You're not getting these buffs. You're not getting them at all. And increasing strike skill damage by this much, and then, you know, enhanced proof of power core passive for the duration, increase active 1 max damage coefficient by 1,000%, guys. Like, these are some big, big buffs that I'm not getting. I'm not getting at A3. So, like, these characters really are designed to really get, I mean, obviously, anytime they go to A5, they're going to have more damage output. But it just seems like there's more of a difference with UE characters versus EX characters as far as how much damage you actually do. So I do feel that a lot of players are going to feel a bit disappointed with Shen Woo in his damage output, because they don't have him at A5. I mean, if they have him at A5, then they're going to unlock this Phantom UE skill, and I think it's going to make all the difference. And I will be able to test Shen Woo at A5 to give you guys my final thoughts on the character. But I will say, with, you know, this set, right, this set right here, it is transcendent for attack characters, and again, I did have my 3PG equipped when I was testing them. it just seems like he isn't as strong. Don't get me wrong, guys. 120 billion solo is still a lot of damage, but I mean, we just had characters that were doing a trillion damage doing a solo. Now, granted, again, that is beyond A5. That is not at A3. That's beyond A5. I don't really know what Ash and Psyche and all those characters did below A5 because when I pulled in those banners, I got them up to A5 immediately, and that's what I tested them at. So in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have tested them at A1, A2, A3, so I would have had an idea of how much damage they had. That way I could actually give a nice little comparison between them and the new characters that we have in the current banner. But I'm going to give these characters a chance. I'm going to try to get both of them to A5 so that way I can give you guys an actual damage comparison between them, because if Shen Woo can hit 23 trillion on my account, if he can do that, guys, that is very, very strong beyond A5. That is very, very strong. Super, super strong. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of players, they talk about these runs that other players are doing, but these other accounts have level 30 fame systems. They have maxed out codexes. They have fully transcended cards, the whole nine, my friends. It makes a massive difference in the damage that you're doing. My main account does about double the damage compared to my free-to-play account because of those reasons, right? So when you watch runs where people are doing 132 trillion, I mean, I've seen Ash hit 132 trillion, right? But I haven't seen the same player play with Shen Woo, right? I haven't seen that player play with other characters, to get an accurate damage assessment. And whenever I compare damage to characters, I do it on my account because I know what characters on my account can actually do to give you guys an accurate assessment about how I feel about these characters. But Shen Woo, I do like him. I do like his skills. I do like how he plays to a degree. That's another thing I'm going to have to talk about because I'm not really sure if I'm playing him correctly. So I'm going to work on some rotations, do a little testing, play with them a little bit because it really does look like you need to use his 3PG a whole lot. And players just aren't used to doing that, including myself. And I think that probably throws players off as far as damage output. I think that it's going to make a big, big difference in his damage output, considering that's kind of how his kit is based, is really about doing his 3PG, doing his ultimate as much as he can. So I feel like, unless you have these characters at A5 and maybe even having their main card sets, you might feel disappointed with Shen Woo as far as your damage. But I think with Elizabeth, you'll still probably feel pretty good about her damage. But these are just my initial impressions, guys. I'm going to test these characters further so I can give you a better assessment of what I really think about them, because I don't want to jump the gun. Whenever Netmarble introduces new mechanics, new ways of bumping up damage, we need to test it out. We need to figure out what is right, what is wrong before we make any judgments on these new characters. So let me know how you're all feeling about Shen Woo and Elizabeth so far. Let me know if any of you do have the new card sets, and if you're seeing, how much of a difference is there between the new card set and the old card set. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. to 2+7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody. Take care.